Hello students, today we are going to start the part 3 of the lecture, and in this part we are going to study refraction of light. In the previous two parts we have completed reflection of light and we have completed spherical mirrors and mirror formula. Mirror formula is very important. You must understand the derivation and prepare the derivation for your board examination. Today the lecture flow will be like, the first thing we'll study reflection of light and refractive index. Second thing, refraction at plane surfaces, and it is further divided into three parts. Today we are going to cover two of them. The first one is refraction through a glass slab and second one is apparent depth. Third one is total internal reflection and optical fiber that we are going to cover in the next part. So let us start. Refraction of light. So first of all we need to understand refractive index for understanding refraction of light. So what is refractive index? Refractive index gives us comparative study of speed of light in a medium with respect to the speed of light in the vacuum. How the speed of light is in the medium with respect to speed of light in the vacuum. How we define it? Refractive index of a medium is defined as the ratio of speed of light in the vacuum to the speed of light in the medium. Ratio of speed of light in the vacuum to the speed of light in the medium. Mathematically, we can write mu is equal to C upon V. Mu represents refractive index, C represents speed of light in the vacuum, and V represents speed of light in that medium of which the refractive index has to be calculated. So from the definition, it is clear that whenever, since the speed of light is maximum in the vacuum, so refractive index cannot be less than 1 because V cannot be greater than C. Speed of light in any other medium is less than that speed that in the vacuum. Now sometimes we have to study speed of light in one medium with respect to another medium. In that case we define refractive index of one medium with respect to another medium, and mathematically it is defined as mu12 is equal to mu1 upon mu2. mu12 is refractive index of one with respect to another. mu1 is refractive index of first medium. mu2 is refractive index of second medium. Now in place of mu1 we can write C upon v1. In place of mu2 we can write C upon v2. C and C will be cancelled out. v1 and v2 are there. So when we write in a correct manner, we are going to have mu12 is equal to v2 upon v1. v2 is speed of light in the second medium and v1 is speed of light in the first medium. Now just see, you have to see the order while writing these formula. Whenever we write mu12 in terms of mu1 and mu2, it is mu1 upon mu2, means mu12. See the order 1, 2, and here it is written 1 upon 2. But when we write mu12 in terms of speeds, then the order is reversed. Like mu12 is written as v2 upon v1. v12 is 2 upon 1. So you have to see these things. And you have to learn the formula. This formula is widely applicable in refraction of light. Now let us start refraction of light. Refraction of light is what? Let us understand with the help of a diagram first of all. Suppose there is water and a ray of light from air falls on the water surface. Now what happens? At the point of incidence, first of all we draw a normal. Now what happens? The original path of the ray is represented by dotted line. But what happens? The ray of light bends from its path. and it bends towards the normal because the light goes from a rarer medium to denser medium, and that's why the light bends towards the normal and it passes like this. So this bending of light when a ray passes from one medium to another, this is called refraction of light. In this case, we define angle of incidence. The angle of incidence is made by incident ray with the normal, whereas angle of refraction is made by the refracted ray with the normal. Obviously, you can see in this case the angle of refraction is less than angle of incidence. Ray is going from rarer medium to denser medium. So how we define refraction of light? So we say that when a ray of light passes from one medium to another medium, it deviates from its path, and this phenomenon is called refraction of light. In the example we have taken that rays, we have supposed that the ray is moving from air to water. But what happens when it moves from water to air? Obviously, it will bend away from the normal. And in that case, angle of refraction will be greater than angle of incidence. Later on, we will discuss that also. Now, next thing we have to study is laws of refraction. What are laws of refraction? So first of all, let us understand with the help of a diagram. A ray is falling from air. At the point of incidence, we draw a normal, and then the original path of the ray, but it bends towards the normal. Angle of incidence is made between incident ray and the normal. Angle of refraction is made between refracted ray and the normal. Now, the air is supposed to be medium 1 and the water is supposed to be medium 2. Here we can see that the medium 1 is rarer than medium 2. So this is the complete diagram of refraction of light. Now the first law is also called Snell's law. And what is that? It is the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction for a given pair of media remains constant. Means for these two medium, for any value of I, for any value of R, the ratio of sine I and sine R is always constant. And this constant is equal to refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. This constant is equal to refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. That is, mathematically you can write sin I upon sin R is equal to mu 2 1. 2 1 is refractive index of second with respect to first. Now here I want to clarify one thing, and that is how that medium 1 and medium 2 is defined. It is not always that medium 1 is on the above side and medium 2 is on the below side. Sometimes it is reversed. So how you are going to define that medium 1 and medium 2? You see, medium 1, in the medium 1 incident ray is there, and in the medium 2 refracted ray is there. Always remember this thing. In the medium 1 incident ray is there, and in the medium 2 refracted ray is there. The medium from which the ray is coming is the medium 1, and the medium in which the ray is going after getting refracted is the medium 2. So sin I upon sin R is equal to mu 2 1, and mu 2 1 can also be written as mu 2 upon mu 1. So sin I upon sin R is equal to mu 2 upon mu 1. This is your refraction first law, and it is called Snell's law. And the second law is the incident ray, refracted ray and the normal lie in a same plane. Okay, the incident ray, refracted ray and the normal lie in a same plane. This law is common when we were studying laws of reflection. Then this was also there, but it was incident ray, reflected ray and the normal. Here it is incident ray, refracted ray and the normal. The only difference is there it was reflected, here it is refracted. So this is what the laws of refractions are. First law is the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction for a given pair of media always remains constant. And the second part is the incident ray, refracted ray, and the normal lie in the same plane. Now, let us move ahead. Now we have to study refraction at plane surfaces, and in the first we are going to study refraction through a rectangular glass slab. This is your first part. Second part is apparent depth. We'll complete it later on. Now just see. Let us make the diagram first of all. Suppose a rectangular glass slab is there. A ray of light falls on the surface. At the point of incidence, we draw a normal. See the ray of light move from air to the glass slab. It is moving from rarer medium to denser medium. The ray of light bends towards the normal. Okay. Then it falls on another surface. Now what happens? Now the ray of light goes from glass to the air, means from denser medium to rarer medium. So in this case, the ray of light move away from the normal. But for that we need a normal. So let us draw a normal first of all. And then the ray of light move away from the normal. The ray of light moves like this. I hope the diagram is clear. In the first case of refraction, the ray was moving from rare to denser, so it bends towards the normal. But in the second refraction, the ray of light moving from denser to rare, and that's why it bends away from the normal. I hope it is clear. Now let us define the medium also. Let us the medium outside the reflector glass slab is 1, and the medium of glass is 2. Let us define the points. Points are A, B. Now the angle of incidence for the first case of refraction, the angle of refraction for the first refraction. Now from geometry you can see that both the normals we have drawn are parallel to each other, and therefore the angle of incidence for the second refraction will also be equal to R. It is because of alternate interior angles. And the angle of refraction for the second case, here it is called angle of emergence, and it is denoted by E. Angle of refraction in the second case is called angle of emergence because ray of light is emerging from the glass slab. So now let us apply the laws of refraction to these refractions. From laws of refraction, for first surface we are going to apply first. So for first surface, what will be what is the Snell's law? The Snell's law is sin I by sin R is equal to constant, and that constant is refractive index of second medium with respect to first medium. So here it is going to be sin I by sin R is equal to mu 2 1 is equal to mu 2 upon v1, because the first medium is 1 and the second medium is 2. So it is written mu 2 1 mu 2 upon v1. Let us make this equation number 1. Now for second refraction, now just see in this case the angle of incidence is equal to R and the angle of refraction is equal to E. So what we are supposed to write, sin R upon sin E. And also the ray of light is moving from 2 to 1. So the medium 2 is going to be our first medium and medium 1 is going to be our second medium. Means the ray of light is moving from glass to air. So 2 is considered as first and 1 is considered as second medium. So how we are going to write the equation? It is sin R upon sin E is equal to mu 1 2 and it is equal to mu 1 upon mu 2. Let us make this equation number 2. Now let us multiply the equation 1 and 2. What we are going to have, sin I by sin R multiplied by sin R upon sin E is equal to mu 2 upon mu 1 multiplied by mu 1 upon mu 2. In the right hand side everything is cancelled. We are going to have 1. In the left hand side sin R will be cancelled out and we are going to have sin I upon sin E is equal to 1, which simply means that I is equal to E, and which means that the angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence. Now, what does it mean that angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence? See, if I and E are equal, it simply means that incident ray and refracted ray, they are parallel to each other. Incident ray and the emergent ray, they are parallel to each other. So we extend the incident ray after the glass lab, and we found that emergent ray and the incident ray, they are parallel to each other. Now we define a distance, and this distance is represented by BC. This is the distance, perpendicular distance between incident ray and the refracted ray. Now just see, since the angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence, therefore the incident ray is parallel to the emergent ray. That is very much visible from the diagram. Second thing is, important one, the perpendicular distance between the incident ray and the emergent ray is called lateral shift or lateral displacement, and in the diagram it is represented by BC. I hope the things are clear. In this we have proved that incident ray is parallel to emergent ray, and the perpendicular distance between these two rays are called lateral shift or lateral displacement, and in the diagram it is equal to BC. So this was your first part. Let us move to the second part. Second part is refraction at plane surfaces, and in this we are going to study apparent depth. Now what is apparent depth? Let us see. Suppose in a container we have filled a liquid. A ray of light, an object is there at the bottom, and this object is represented by O. We have to see the object from the outside, and for this thing we must have a ray of light, two rays of light, which is moving from the object towards our eye. Now what happens for the first ray? If we draw a ray of light perpendicular to the surface, what happens? Since it is falling perpendicular, therefore there is no refraction and it moves in a straight path. But when we draw a ray of light like this in the diagram, now let us make the normal. Now what happens, since the ray of light is moving from the liquid to the air, now what happens, it bends away from the normal because it is moving from denser medium to rare medium. So it moves away from the normal. Now the angle of incidence, this point is B. The angle of, we extend the refracted ray behind the liquid surface. What we are going to have an intersection point, and this intersection point we are going to have an image, and that image is I. Let us define the angle. Angle of incidence will be like this. Angle of refraction will be like this. Okay, refracted ray and the normal, incident ray and the normal. If you apply a bit of geometry, then you can easily find out the angle made between OA and OB is also equal to I, and it is because of alternate interior angles. In the same manner, the angle made between IA and IB is equal to R, and it is because, just see, the angle are vertically opposite and then it is alternate interior angles. Okay, you can say these are the corresponding angles also. So this is the complete diagram. Now let us prove the formula. Let us define the medium outside the liquid as 1 and of the liquid is 2. Now real depth, that is a D, it is equal to A. Apparent depth, that is equal to D dash, and it is equal to IA. If we apply Snell's law, so Snell's law is sin I by sin R is equal to mu 1 2. Why I have written 1 2? Why I have not written 2 1? Because rate of light is moving from 2 to 1. So 2 is considered to be our first medium and 1 is considered to be our second medium. I have deliberately written 1, 2 like that because you have to understand that numbers don't decide that this medium is first and this medium is second. I have written liquid 2, it doesn't mean that medium is this is considered to be second medium. Okay, you have to understand this thing. The ray of light is moving from a medium, that medium is considered as the first medium, and it is after getting refracted, its medium is moving to the another medium, so that medium will be our second medium. Okay, so sin I by sin r is equal to mu1 2. Let us make this equation number 1. Now see the diagram. In triangle ABO, we have an angle I at the bottom. So that angle I, sin I is equal to perpendicular upon hypotenuse, that will be equal to AB upon OB. In the same manner, in triangle ABI, sin R is equal to AB upon IB. So what we are going to have, we divide sin I by sin R. So we are going to have, from 1 we put the value of sin I and we put the value of sin R. So we are going to have AB upon OB whole upon AB upon IB, and that is equal to mu1 2. ABB will be cancelled out and we are going to have IB upon OB is equal to mu1 2. Now the refracted ray must reach to our eyes also, and therefore the distance between refracted rays are going to be very small, and AB is considered to be very small, and therefore OB can be approximately equal to OA and IB can be approximately equal to IA. So we replace these and we are going to have IA upon OA is equal to mu2 1, and IA is our apparent depth, we have defined as D dash, and OA is our real depth, we have defined as D. So here we are going to have apparent depth upon real depth is equal to mu1 2, and from here the apparent depth is equal to real depth multiplied by mu1 2. Apparent depth is represented as D dash, real depth that is D. So we are going to have D dash is equal to D multiplied by mu1 2. Mu1 2 can be written as mu1 upon mu2. So D dash is equal to D multiplied by mu1 upon mu2. Now if the first medium is air, then mu1 is considered to be 1, and therefore we have D dash is equal to D upon mu2. So we apply the second formula, D dash is equal to D upon mu2 if the first medium is air, but the general formula is apparent depth upon real depth is equal to mu1 2. 1 is outside the liquid, 2 is inside the liquid. Actually there is a particular pattern, if you have noticed. Always what used to do, I used to consider the denser medium as 2 and the rarer medium as 1. Okay, so you can make your own pattern, but if you follow this pattern the things will be easier. Mu1 2 we can write refractive index of rare medium with respect to denser medium. Okay, one more thing we have to understand from the diagram. Let us understand, and that thing is the distance OI. If you can see in the diagram, the distance OI is called normal shift. It is the apparent shift of the object for an observer who is looking at the object from the outside. So the distance OI is called normal shift, and its value is given by normal shift is equal to real depth minus apparent depth. It is obviously clear. OI will be equal to OA minus IA. So OA is your real depth and IA is apparent depth. So normal shift is OI is equal to OA minus IA. OA is our real depth, we have represented as D, and IA is our apparent depth, we have represented it as D dash. So we are going to have OI is equal to D minus D dash, or OI is equal to D minus D. We have to put the values of D dash, so we are going to have D multiplied by mu1 upon mu2. If we take common D, so we are going to have OI is equal to D in bracket 1 minus mu1 upon mu2. So this is our formula for normal shift. in some numericals, normal shift is being asked. You can apply this formula. This is all for today. So what we have learned today, let us revise. Let us have a quick revision. The first point we study, the ratio of speed of light in the vacuum to the speed of light in a medium is called the refractive index of the medium. The formula is mu is equal to C upon V. Second point is, must note this point. Refractive index of air is considered as 1, whereas the refractive index of water and glass are 4 upon 3 and 3 upon 2 respectively. You must note these points. Third is, the bending of light ray when it passes from one medium to another medium is called a refraction of light. Whenever a ray of light goes from one medium to another, it changes its path, and that's what we call refraction. Fourth one is, when a ray of light passes from rarer medium to denser medium, the ray bends towards the normal. The rarer to denser bends towards the normal. Fifth one is, when a ray of light passes from denser medium to rarer medium, it bends away from the normal. Just opposite to previous one. Next point is, the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to the sine of angle of refraction is constant for a given pair of media, and this is called Snell's law. Seventh point is about apparent depth. The apparent depth is given by apparent depth is equal to real depth multiplied by mu12, whereas the normal shift is given by real depth minus apparent depth. Next point is, the incident ray and the emergent ray through a glass slabs are parallel to each other. We have proved. And the next and the last point is, the lateral shift is the perpendicular distance between the incident ray and the emergent ray through a rectangular glass slab. This is all for today. Now, very important one, your home assignment. The first question is, show that the lateral shift cannot exceed thickness of the glass slab. Very important question as per your board examinations are concerned. Second question, why a pencil appears bent when it is partially immersed in water? Third one is, the refractive index of water with respect to oil is 1.2 and the refractive index of water with respect to spirit is 0.8. What is the refractive index of oil with respect to the spirit? The relative refractive index mu12 formula is going to be applied. Fourth question is, does water only refracts and does not reflect? Justify your answer with the appropriate example. And the fifth and the last question is, what are the changes that occurs in wavelength and frequency of light when it goes from rarer medium to denser medium? What are the changes that occurs in the wavelength and frequency of light when it goes from rarer medium to denser medium? So these are the 5 questions. Students, you are required to note all the points, all the derivations in a copy. And then after, while solving you are required to solve these questions also. It will help you to prepare for your board examinations. This is all for today. Thank you.